Our hope is that this is an opportunity for conversation and dialogue about each of our roles in our democratic society, and today's presenters have included time for your questions as well. We encourage you to participate in the Q&A portions of the sessions as you are comfortable. You might have noticed that we were collecting questions up front as you entered. If you still have those, feel free to pass them to the end of the row and we will collect them for our panelists. I see many familiar faces here with us, including many of our past Gather presenters, Blanche Hughes, Craig Chesson, Anna Fontana, and Lisa Kutcher, and also some new faces. For those who may not be as familiar with the Women in Philanthropy community, I want to share a few words about our mission and how it is that we've come together today. Under the strategic guidance of the Vice President for University Advancement, Derek Dixon, who's also joined us today, Women in Philanthropy connects and empowers our community to elevate women in philanthropy at CSU. We recognize the power of women and strive to connect them with their passions at CSU so that through philanthropy, the world's biggest challenges are solved. Put simply, we're a community of donors who believe in CSU, who know that there are brilliant, talented, capable women and men doing world-challenging work right here. When we come together, they inspire us with their expertise and passion and show us all how we too can make a difference. Speaking of, it is my distinct honor to introduce the person who will really kick things off today. As an alumna and now RAM parent who has served in various leadership roles during her 17 years at CSU, President Amy Parsons is in the second year of her presidency. During this time, she has been a fixture on campus, connecting with students, faculty, staff, alumni, and donors, meeting them where they're at, and championing CSU's rise as the modern land-grant university. Her leadership role makes her a special fit to serve as our panel moderator today. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the 16th president of Colorado State University, President Amy Parsons.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here with you today. The Women in Philanthropy community was the result of a charge issued by former President Tony Frank. And he charged our university to be the best place for women to work, learn, and give. Responding directly to that charge, two extraordinary donors, Paula Edwards, who's here with us today, hi Paula, and Nancy Richardson led a small group of volunteers who provided the strategic guidance to bring this community to life in 2018. Now, 6 years later, this community has grown to include more than 800 donors. Gather, Conversations to Inspire, brings together not only members of the Women in Philanthropy community, but welcomes students, faculty, staff, and alumni, and friends to celebrate the work being done here. Thank you for joining us for today's conversation as part of CSU's thematic year of democracy. CSU, as we all know, as a land-grant institution, was founded on the revolutionary idea of democratization of education, and it is our responsibility to build a community that engages in thoughtful, productive conversations, and in my personal opinion, that can't happen without thoughtful, productive women. We have many of them here today. Today, we'll hear from a woman who is masterful in engaging in civil dialogue. Our keynote speaker, Donna Brazile, is a veteran political strategist, New York Times bestselling author, chair of the J. William Fulbright Foreign Scholarship Board, and award-winning media contributor. She became the first African-American woman to serve as the manager of a major party political campaign, running the campaign for former Vice President Al Gore. Donna serves as an adjunct professor in the Women and Gender Studies Department at Georgetown University. She served as the King Endowed Chair in Public Policy at Howard University and as a fellow at the Institute of Politics at Harvard Kennedy School. She's lectured at nearly 250 colleges and universities on diversity, equity and inclusion, women in leadership, and restoring civility in American politics. Thank you for that. Just a few weeks ago, Donna participated in a conversation with other political leaders to repair the breaches in our civic life. The event was a continuation of Governor Spencer Cox's Disagree Better initiative that included a stop right here at CSU back in November. Thank you, Donna, for being here. Please join me in welcoming Donna Brazile to the stage.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well. I cannot believe it. I'm back in Colorado. What do you think? You think I'm going to forget this state? You think just because that you're a little bluer than I was last time? I came here when you were red. I came here when you were purple. And I am going to keep coming until you are deep, deep blue. So thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, I just finished last week my 22nd year at Georgetown, my 31st year of teaching. I told my students, and Madam President, I don't know how I get through any of my lectures without sobbing. I sob. I'm a full-time professor. I have 4 seasons. So I meet you when you come on campus. I try to get to know you as you get through your freshman year. Always there if you need me. By the junior year, you start bothering me. I mean, you finally figure out your why, and then you come to me and you're like, well, what should I do with this? I said, really? You want to be president of the United States? You came to me. Oh, yeah, well, you've worked on a lot of presidential campaigns. I've actually had students who, took my class because they want to be president. And of course, the senior year. I can't help but cry. I've watched them grow. I've been a part of their lives. Often I've invited them to my home. I help them with their homework. In fact, before coming here, Jared, who took my class in his sophomore year, is writing his senior thesis on women in the media. And he came to me and I said, Jared, I'm no expert, but I know a bunch of people who are journalists, real ones, not pundits like me. And I text him because his paper's due tomorrow and say, Jared, is it done? But I cry. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him. I feel like I'm a birth mother in the sense that I didn't have to go 9 months. Instead, I go 4 years. And I've enjoyed it. And I cry because I'm going to miss him. No one else is going to harass me until the fall. No one's going to need my advice until the fall. No one's going to come sit in my office and bring their lunch and their coffee without bringing anything for me until the fall. And no one else is going to teach me about AI, going to tell me what song I should listen to on Taylor Swift's new album. Nobody's going to teach me more than I've learned from my students over the last 30-plus years. So students, I am here because of you. I am proud of you. And if you're ready to graduate, I am willing to help you, especially if you want to study abroad. I decided years ago when President Obama became the official President of the United States, and he came up to me, and you know what, that voice, looking all like that. And he said, hey, Donna, what do you want? And I did. Is Michelle leaving you? Although he's a younger man, probably the first time I ever voted for a younger person than myself for president. And I said, Mr. President, I don't want nothing. I'll just stay on TV and defend you, support you, explain, and all that other good stuff. And I let it go until after 2012. Madam President, I went to 36 states on behalf of Barack Obama and Joe Biden. Some states like Florida, 12, 15 times, and I kept telling my family, I need a tan. I was working on my tan. I went to Nevada 9 times, to Silver State, and didn't gamble 1 time. But I was on a mission to re-elect, of course, Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And after the election day, the president came back to me with that same, what do you want? I knew Michelle was in it for the long haul. And although he had gotten a couple dogs in between, he wasn't going to borrow my dog, Chippity Chippity Gumdrop. I told the president I knew what I wanted. And he said, what? I said, I want to be on the Fulbright board. I've been on this board now twice, because when Joe Biden won, and Joe and the vice president said, Donna, what do you want? I said, I want to get back on the Fulbright board. I hope many of you who are students think about it. Those of you who are scholars, administrators, academics, I hope you think about it, because now more than ever, America needs ambassadors. America needs to have her presence expanded around the globe, because there's so many people who don't understand us anymore, because we have a problem understanding who we are. Who are we? You know, one of the things I enjoy most about growing up at this hour, this time, is that I've gotten a chance to see a lot in my day. I came of age during the Civil Rights Movement. And in large part, the reason why I decided to get involved in politics and to serve is because I saw people who were willing to march, who were willing to risk their lives by going out into the street, into the public square, demanding that they have a say in their own lives. That is the right to vote, to have a say in your own life. And after Dr. King was murdered, imagine being a little kid coming home from school. And of course, I had a big mouth. Luckily, I get paid to talk now. Back then, they just kept saying, shut up, Donna. Of course, I came home one afternoon, and my grandmother, who, while didn't grow up in slavery, her mother did. She was born in 1887. She loved the Lord. In fact, I thought my grandmother knew Jesus personally. She would always be calling out to Jesus, Jesus, Lord. I'm like, where? Who invited Jesus here? Where's Jesus? I mean, but she had this unshakable faith, this love that I can't even explore in my own life, because she loved the Lord and loved her country. She raised 12 children, I'm sorry. She raised the 9 of us. I was the third of 9. And on that Thursday evening, in April of 1968, it was the first time I felt connected to something much larger than just my family and my community. I grew up on the bayou, right outside of New Orleans. I was born at Charity Hospital in New Orleans, but we grew up in Kenner. And my grandmother informed us, because first we had to get in the house and order our births. Cheryl, Sheila, Donna, Teddy, Chet, Lisa, Dimitri, Kevin, Ziola, come on in. And you know, we rushed in, because she, in addition to being our grandmother, she was the best chef. She could cook anything from scratch, and especially buttermilk biscuits. I keep telling Oprah, I'm not going on Ozempic. I can't go on anything. I'm not going to lose. This is buttermilk biscuits. And it's made out of lard. Some of you young people better look that up, because that's how we made pies and cakes and a lot of lard. This is some good stuff. I ain't going to the pearly gates skinny. My grandmother's going to say, what the hell happened? You went on, oh, who? No, this is Lord. My grandmother brought us in. We were children. How many of you, when you were a kid, someone had to explain to you what being assassinated meant? How many of you had to sit through a conversation with your grandma? This believer in God, who had to tell us kids that Dr. King was murdered. The man that she told us about, and my parents told us about, the man who was about peace, who believed in love and justice, who called upon a nation to honor the words in its Constitution, to give freedom a chance to spread into every part of our great nation. My grandmother told us he was shot. And when we started saying, why? Of course, I was the one. I was a leader. I was a ringleader. My older sister, poor thing, to this day, they have to tell me, Donna, you're not the oldest. So what? When she act like the oldest, I will be the third, but I'm the oldest. Well, I never had a problem with leading any damn thing. Started early. But as I asked my grandmother, why would this happen? Why would someone who loved everybody be taken away from us? I guess I didn't know the understanding of JFK being shot. I didn't know that Abraham Lincoln was shot. I felt like my grandmother went to school with him. I mean, nowadays one could say that Joe Biden might have went to school with him. Hell, I ran with Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass. I escaped too. Look at me, I'm running still. Don't put me back in bondage. Don't take me back to 1848. Don't make me subject my body to something that back then, to 1864. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. King's assassination was a wake-up call. It was a wake-up for us to believe in democracy, to understand freedom and justice for all. It was a wake-up call to continue to march for his dream. His dream shall never die. Because the day we take our eyes off the prize and follow another North Star, we will lose our freedom. The North Star has always been simple to explain. It's we the people. Democracy should be contagious. We should all want to exercise all of our freedom, to believe in one another, to trust in one another, to say out of the class of 300, there's perhaps one person, maybe 10 people, God knows, all 300 are capable of leading and governing ourselves. Dr. King allowed me to figure out my why. His death was an awakening. Yeah, I've been woke. I'd be damned if I go to sleep until everybody be free. I'm woke. Tell them I said it. I'm woke because my people had to stay up some nights because there were no hotels that would allow them to get a room for the night. They had the money, but they wasn't the right color. I'm woke because I knew if I get on the highway with my brother who's behind the wheel, I may have to drive if he cannot continue the journey. I'm woke because I knew in the 21st century to have a country that is born in freedom, but knowing that everyone, especially women, not just people of color, women, the majority of voters, the majority of college educated, we've had to struggle for our own dignity, respect. You know, when the vice president, I know her very well, yes, she's ready. You know, at first when people asked me the question, the Vice President, Kamala D. Harris, from the great state of California, elected twice statewide, DA, then AG, then United States Senate. And all of a sudden, because maybe she never looked in the mirror when she was a little girl like most white males would look sometime, and maybe white females, but I don't know a lot of them either. But sometimes people can look in the mirror and say, I can be the president. And sometimes we make people have 2, 3, 4, 6, 10, 15 qualifications, experiences. I mean, Hillary was the best qualified. You may not like everything she said and some actions she took. Hell, I don't like all the actions Al Gore took. You can read my book to find out what. He pissed me off more than a time. In fact, George W. Bush, I didn't even like. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the second book I wrote, or the third one, I forget which one, it ain't been more than 3 because I'm working on another one. I had to write good things about George W. Bush, to my dismay. I mean, did I agree with him on the Iraq War? No. If I read my speech, I would go in sentence in line, but I'm going to go to my speech last. I write my own speeches, and I never deliver them. It's just to prove that I can still be a speechwriter. George W. Bush. Speaking of democracy, speaking of all things, you know, American institutions, American people. August 28, 2005. Like most Americans, I wanted to get out of D.C. before the semester started. So I tried to go to the Delmarva Peninsula. It's right there between Maryland and Delaware and something else. But it exists, and they have beaches. And unlike the Mississippi River, the Gulf Coast, I don't go to get in the water. I just go to look at people getting in the water. And so when my niece called me and she said, Auntie Donna, we're leaving. I said to myself, where y'all going? Thinking Louisiana people, they like the heat, so they just stay there. Because unlike most Americans, they also have, in addition to heat and humidity, they have 4 delicious seasons: shrimp, crabs, crawfish, and oysters. And why leave in the middle of one of those seasons, right? So when she said, we're leaving Katrina, I said, you're leaving Katrina, you're leaving Katrina. No, Katrina's in Florida. We track storms like some people track, the sale of certain products, okay? But we track storm. We are all storm trackers, and I have to tell you, tornado trackers. I'm a little bit on the freaky side. I'm a weather woman, okay? Whew. And so when she told me Katrina was coming, something went up in my head. If this is a Category 5, now y'all know if they close down churches, I'm Catholic. If the Catholics close down, it's like we never closed the Catholic Church, things are bad. God is coming, something's happening. So they closed down the churches. I said, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I freaked out. I realized there were members of my family who lived in poverty. Not all of us had a credit card. In fact, I didn't have a credit card. My parents didn't have a credit card when I was growing up. And don't forget, women didn't get access to credit cards to the 1980s, in our own 80s. But I realized there were members of my family who would not leave or could not leave because they lacked the resources. So I did what is best. I went to the nearest grocery store, went to the nearest Walmart, and I started wiring as much as I can. And people always say, why Walmart? Because they have the best rates. And I had to wire all the cash I could find just to get as many of my family members. I'm the 3rd of 9, and you can imagine what goes on in a family like mine. Okay, they just discovered birth control pill like 10 months ago. I've been trying to get the morning after pill for 12 years just to send it home to Louisiana and say, I'm willing to go to jail so y'all can stop having children. Long story, but that's the family. I love them. I tell them I love them. I got one coming in a couple of weeks. One came 3 months ago. I said, what is going on? Auntie Donna's tired of paying tuition. Okay. They had to leave. Some could, some couldn't, including my dad, a Korean veteran, 4 Bronze Stars. Loved his country, would not leave because his daughter Sheila, my second sister, who had become disabled after brain surgery. It wasn't cancer, but still, when you go back to Charity Hospital after you're born, normally you don't come out alive. She came out alive, but she would never be the same. And my dad refused to leave. And because my baby sister, who was a nurse, didn't want to leave my daddy, I said, oh, hell. It was just like, what the hell? Even when you got money, they won't go. I said, this is a great time to go to North Carolina. You want to come up to D.C.? I'll even send you to California. I mean, give you a vacation out of this, right? No, they want to stay. So you can imagine the worst things happen. And I bring all of this back to George Bush. Because here I am, somebody who was on TV at the time, and George Bush was being called a racist because people were on their porch, because people couldn't leave. Because people died. 1,800 people died, plus. And so after the world pretty much condemned the government's reaction and response, not just the federal, but state and local, then people start hurling insults. He's a racist, he's a this. And I said, hey, wait, I'm going to stop y'all right now. I'm going to stop y'all. Hurricane Katrina was an equal opportunity destroyer. She wasn't looking for poor black folks, Hispanics. She was looking for gays, straight, Catholics, Baptists, white. The girl just got there, didn't know where she was going, came up that mighty Mississippi, said, this tastes like gumbo. And then she started twirling around because she said, is there something else? Oh, this sounds like jazz. And then she stalled, and we're like, go, Mississippi, Alabama, but go. And then we're like, no, just die. She didn't die. She didn't dissipate. She gained strength, and anybody who was along her way, didn't matter. Ninth Ward, the lake houses, you were going to get destroyed. I had to make a decision, probably one of the toughest decisions in my life. Do I work with George W. Bush? Or just do I use my time on television and everything else, all of the other different academic, I was a protester in my day, still am a protester. I will protest some stuff, y'all will be surprised, like getting a children's park in my neighborhood. I'm like, I don't want to play in my yard, get a park. But I decided to work with George Bush. And let me say something to all of you good, faithful liberals, progressives, moderates, conservatives, whoever. I was condemned because I decided I wanted to help the President of the United States. I was condemned. I lost my black card. And I'm not talking about American Express. Couldn't go to this convention, that convention, because some people were more invested in calling George Bush a racist than actually helping those who had been stranded and through no fault of their own could not get back on their feet. I decided it was in not just the interest of the people, the Gulf Coast, the community, my family, and my country, to put aside all my partisanship, to put aside all of my inks and my dislike or whatever, conservatism and conservative policies, let alone the fact that the election was stolen. Seriously. Florida, 2000, convinced me otherwise. But I was there, okay? And I'm not going to hold that against the Supreme Court until after they rule on this immunity. Because I said on Sunday on TV, it was election interference by not hearing this case early. That's my 2 cents. Y'all can disagree with me. But let me go back. George Bush, I had 3 years with him. And let me tell you, my first reaction was, oh, God, this is not going to happen. This is not, I can't do this. I see why I was with Gore, because I'm like, whew, he's no Bill Clinton. Just when I would go into the Oval Office as a congressional staffer with Bill Clinton, man, Bill Clinton would challenge me 5 ways to Sunday. It wasn't just because he was a lawyer or he was from Arkansas. Louisianians always thought of themselves better. It was because he wanted me not to give him the problem, but also the solution. He wanted me to be an advocate for something, not just being against a proposition. He made me think wider and longer and harder. And the task was just helping the Washington, D.C. not go down the dumps, because D.C. was about to fall off the literal bridge and go bankrupt, the nation's capital. But with George W. Bush, it was knowing that, first of all, Republicans don't believe in big government. Damn, this is the time we're going to need some big government. You're going to need a big government because none of the catfish are small. You're going to need a big government because not only did the levee system collapse, our pump system collapsed, everything collapsed. And if we rebuild New Orleans and the Gulf Coast, then maybe it will be a textbook of how we do this again. Because this ain't the first or the last of the kind of storms that we're going to see. So I had a solution. And when we decided to rebuild the schools, hell no, we're not going to put them below sea level. We're going to raise them up. And when we would decide to get the pump system, we would have a backup generator, not just connected to the electrical. Y'all get the point. The point is, I spent 3 years with George W. Bush and thinking, if I don't get a level 1 trauma center, where's the next generation of poor kids like me going to ever find a place to come into this world? If I don't help this president with the levee structure or help this president with reopening the school, and my most controversial one, until Karl Rove told me I kept begging. I said, well, you probably never heard the temptation. Ain't too proud to beg. We started a road home program for people who owned their homes, didn't have a mortgage, or people who had a mortgage and were struggling to make payments for them to come back home. And to use that $64,000 to get caught up or rebuild beyond what the insurance company. And it was available to everybody. My point is, and I'll give you my last one, and then we'll open it up for questions, comments. As Barack Obama wins, George W. Bush is, preparing to leave on January 9th. I remember the date, if y'all understand what I mean. Preparing to leave. Preparing to leave, just like my ex-boss, Al Gore, said, shut it down. After the Supreme Court ruled within 48 hours of hearing the case that it would be unconstitutional. They said it would violate the Equal Protection Clause if we decided to count all votes, because they count votes differently from county to county. That was the argument in Bush v. Gore. Don't read it. You'll need 2 bottles of wine. But Al Gore was willing to go, but I was there with George Bush before he left. And I said, Mr. President, and at this point, we had a rhythm. I would walk into the Oval Office and he would jump up and hug and kiss me. And I'm like, oh, golly. Oh, man. I mean, no black card, no any card no more. I mean, and I would get over it. And by the way, I have pictures. I sent a lot of my pictures and photographs over the years of Nelson Mandela, blah, blah, blah. I got the one with George Bush kissing me, and I'm like, I don't know if I want future people to see that. I think I'm going to have to, now that I told the story, and this is the first time I told it, but I'm telling this story because democracy can't thrive if we just believe it's about red or blue. Democracy can only thrive if we believe it's about the best ideas. It's about listening to each other, respecting one another, believing that we are all legit. We deserve some dignity and respect. We never know what's going to come out the womb, or we never know what's going to finally hatch, or when somebody will understand their life's purpose. But we should all believe in something, and that is who we are as American citizens. Of course, I have a favorite team. And by the way, I'm doing my steps. Don't think something wrong with me. I'm trying to get this stuff too, okay? I'm trying to be healthy. They keep asking me if I want medicine. I say, as long as they sell wine from California, Napa, Sonoma, I'm good. That's my medicine. This is the biggest test I think we've ever been through as Americans. I mean, you say, oh, who is she? Well, first of all, I got 10 presidential campaigns under my belt. 19 state and local, 55 congressional, House and Senate. I've come out here for Bennett. I come out here again for Bennett if he needs me. Of course, with all of the presidential campaigns, I've campaigned in 49 states. The only state, as I told Melissa and President Parson, the only state I've never been to is Montana. I've been watching Yellowstone to prepare myself. Presidents say it's too violent, but I told her it's better. I mean, Madam President, it's better than some of our local news. And besides, I don't even turn on the news anymore. I go to what I call HGTV, adult porn. They're constantly stripping things to the studs. I mean, for women, we're like, phew, you opened it up. Okay, let's stop. All right, different conversation, nothing to do with democracy, but democracy is not about my party winning, your party losing. That's bullshit. Democracy is much bigger than that. We keep using the small part of the D and not the big part of the D. The thing that a woman said to Ben Franklin, I can imagine he coming out with his spectacles. He was a little older than Biden. And squinting, maybe. However, I keep telling the president, if he bought some Coles Haan, he'll be like everybody else I know. But he can't swing it when you're 81, you just show it. But she asked Ben Franklin, and I'll close on this point, I'll make sure we got a good 20 minutes. She said, what did y'all do? I guess she said, you see 55 men hanging out, y'all don't go a lot, y'all even staying with each other, y'all been hooking up for all of these, what are y'all cooking up? Since no woman was allowed to be in the room, Abigail Adams told them, March the 1st, 1776, don't forget the ladies. And they say, well, we got to forget y'all because if we actually let y'all in the room, you'll find out we're not even going to include y'all for another almost 100 years. I mean, What's wrong with seeing us? What's wrong with hearing us? What's wrong with respecting us? What's wrong with allowing us to make the best decisions for ourselves? But you see, democracy depends on all of us taking everything into account. The big, the little, the small, the in-between. And you ain't gonna get perfect on either side. You ain't gonna get perfection. It's messy, but it's better than anything else. And Benjamin Franklin was absolutely right. He answered her by saying, a democracy or a republic, if we can keep it. If we can keep it. So I end by asking you, how do you help us keep it? How do you become part of the solution? How do you sit down with somebody you disagree with, knowing that history will record why you sat down? How do you begin to believe in something bigger and broader? And not just what's happening to you or your family, but what's the possibility if you decided to go out there and do the unknown and sometimes become the first, or just simply stand as you all understand? It's one thing to stand on principle. We all have principles. It's another thing to believe. It's another thing to believe in one another and believe the principles of each and every American. I close by saying this. Today when I got up, and thank God y'all gave me 2 extra hours. It's a world of difference. Okay? By the time you watch Morning Joe, you're caffeinated. But when I saw the news, I kept thinking, you know, I'm going to close on my faith. I'm going to close on my faith. It's not a faith everybody shares. Some people have no faith. I love them too. I just tell them, don't come near my garden because they wouldn't understand how seeds become plants. It's faith. But I stand on my faith. The faith of my ancestors, how you started this program, and thank you, the Women in Philanthropy community. But I stand on the fertile ground of what we have created, America. They said last century we were the best, and y'all know last century we had wars. Some of those wars we haven't resolved. That's why we're still litigating them. War is not just physical, it manifests itself in many other ways. But we're dealing with a multi-front war. And part of the problem for our democracy and why it requires us is one of its missing ingredients is trust. And if we lose that, what I also akin to faith, then we are going to indeed have to figure out what other form of government we might wish to live in. We've got to restore trust. We got to believe the best in each other, and yes, we're going to have our cynicism and our skepticism and our, oh my God, okay? But you know, you get over it. But we become stronger. And maybe we can start planting those seeds for the 21st century before AI tells us. Maybe we can reimagine the future. Maybe we can stand as one, even as we are divided, knowing that division hasn't always destroyed us. Often it has been that inflection point that made us decide what we could do differently. And we have a lot we can do differently as American citizens. All I know is that as this little kid who grew up in the segregated South, I've used my life as an example of what you can do with power. Oh, black girl got power, black girl got magic too. It starts with believing in yourself. So I told you about how I cried. Grandma said Dr. King was dead. But I said, that's okay. That dream won't die. No sooner than I got out of LSU with a degree, I got my bachelor's, 4 years, and I'm out. I'm like, bye, bye. My chancellor gave me my certificate, my graduate diploma. He said, I'm so glad you're leaving. I'm like, me too. Because I was tired of whipping his ass, and he was tired of telling me to sit my ass down. It was bad, but Madam President, was good. And I want you tomorrow, and Madam President, I'm going to say this to you, because you're a good sister leader. I want you to know that you're going to sit and listen to students who, like yourself, you're a graduate, your daughter's here, you got connection. So you're not just sitting on high, you're sitting like they have sat. And to listen, to give them space, to give them an opportunity to tell you what it is they would like to happen. And I hope they know, because I know they know. You have every right to express yourself. God bless you. You have every right to have feelings, emotions, to want to condemn something, to praise something, to love something, you have every right. But we always practice that. Or we should practice it with civility and respect. I know you said to me, oh, Donna, hell no. Yeah, I used to sit with the Young Americans for Freedom. I used to call them the cousins of the KKK. And every Friday I would go sit and talk to them. I said, hell, y'all can't be against everything. Are you against sunshine? Who hates vanilla ice cream, damn it? Do you want some pralines? I said, we both go to the Tigers game. We both going on our same uniform. All of a sudden, you're going to put your cape on here? Hell no, I know you. I had a beer last week with you at the game. I went to every LSU game. I can't remember one. It's all right, officers. I got out in 4 years. But you're doing the right thing, madam. And you're also meeting with the students, Jewish students, students with ties and connections to Israel. And you also will have to listen to them. Each of them have pain. The pain of losing a loved one, the pain of not knowing what home looks like again, the pain of not knowing if peace will ever come, the pain of not understanding ways in which to help. There's so much pain. Acknowledge their pain. Let them know their pain is real. I've had so many different kinds of pain in my life. And the thing I've learned from my pain is that I'm going to be somebody who can love, to empathize, to listen, to hear your story. Unless you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons, I don't give a shit. I still got somebody to pray for. Can't stand the Falcons. Listen to one another. Still believe in hope. Still believe that love conquers all. Still believe in yourselves, believe in your country, your family. If you don't have faith, you don't need it, fine. If you need faith, and you need to know why it is important to have it, then get some help. The last thing I want you to do is to say, I'm sick and tired and don't have a way to say, but I'm going to feel better. The other morning, before getting on TV, which I try to do every Sunday, unless they give me one off. They gave me one off recently. They said, which of the 2 days would you like off? You only get one. I said, what are the options? Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? I said, do I need to dance more or pray more? I decided I need to pray, so I went home to Louisiana and I partied too. All right. You all have been patient in listening to me. You've been kind to invite me. You have been very insightful, given this year a title that is meaningful, and not just this year, but every year you're alive because of who we are. We're a democracy. If we can keep a republic, if we believe in it and allow others to help us. If we can see past the differences of those we disagree with and just see where we might find some degree of kindness, some degree of empathy, some degree of love, we'll be a stronger, better nation. And I'm not Pollyannish. I'm Donna. And when Dr. King's birthday was on the line to become a national holiday, I spent my time doing that. And when we couldn't get Al Gore in the White House, I spent my time trying to get a woman, as I said in my book, or a person of color. Because I said, one day I'm going to see them all. And that became Barack Obama. And then 8 years later, I tried to get Hillary. I'm going to fight. I'm going to stand. But I'm always believe at the end of the day, as they say in the Bible, that justice will roll down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. I'm going to stay on the right side of history, and if I veer off course, y'all just know I had too much Cabernet. God bless you all. Thank you, and I look forward to your comments and your questions. Thank you. Thank you. Oprah sent Melissa because she's busy doing commercials for Ozempic. All right.
Does anyone have any questions?
Comments, recipes. Y'all know I got a speech. It's 25 pages, double font. Double line. Oh, God, I got a question from the president.
Yep.
I better behave. Yes, Madam President.
So my question is, you know, we have thousands and thousands of young people for whom this is their first election this coming November. What advice do you have for our student body who's facing their first election and their first participation in politics?
Is anyone in this room, is this your first presidential election? Can you stand up? Yeah, come on. Your first presidential election. Woohoo! Ooh. Sucky now. Hey. So you know this song, "You're the One I Love"? Okay, "You're the One I Love." There's 6 million of you. Woo! But guess what? When elections are decided by less than 100,000 votes, as we have seen in the last 2 cycles, baby, but 77,000 when Trump, won the Electoral College, but it was 77,000 votes that could have just changed it into being Hillary's year. And this last one, 44,000. It could have been, instead of Joe Biden's year, it could have been Donald Trump. Electoral College being what it is. So your 6 million votes will decide the election. Sleep on that. Sleep on that. Country with 330 million, maybe 35 million, because my family's still working at it. Your generation is going to help determine the future. And I am so proud of you. And to the next generation up, along with millennials in general, you are the majority of voters. We boomers have done a lot for you. We've given you the best music, the greatest dance moves of all times, even things we can't give a name to. But now we are going to bequeath to you, your legacy will keep hope alive and keep the dream alive. We got healthcare access. We've been working on pollution for a long time and saving this doggone planet. We've been trying to ban different kind of assault weapons. We've been trying to do a great deal with regards to UN debt and some of the other issues. We've been trying to get inflation down so that you can go to the grocery store and the gas store in the same day and not go crazy. But we can't keep doing it. We're getting old. And if Joe Biden wants to acknowledge it, I'll acknowledge it. Hell yeah. When you've been on the battlefield for justice and peace, when your generation helped raise, certain things so that you can get certain places and lowering other things so you can do more wonderful things at a younger age, including voting, hell yeah, we're going to put a lot on your plate. It's time for you to rise up and vote. Why you? Because there's no one better. And why now? Because tomorrow is not soon enough. So this is on your shoulders. You better get it together, girl. Hey, girls. And if you boys in there didn't want to stand up, I got some news for y'all, too. Keep your candy in the wrapper. It's a song. Keep the pearls clean, keep the pocketbook closed. I do sex education on the side. I tried to do Bible study, but they told me that since women cannot be priests, they were not ready for me. And I said, I know you. Well, you're not ready for me, but I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Y'all ready for this? Hold your start. This is a story I've been waiting to tell a lot of people. Let me get around, let me get around, let me get around. So y'all know, Jesus, I mean, those of you, if y'all don't know the story, you can go to the Bible and read it yourself. And by the way, I'm not selling Bibles. Don't ever say, Madam Parson, that I was here to sell Bibles. That in and of itself is blasphemy. But Jesus was crucified. Sad moment. Throughout every stage along the way, he got help. And at times, women helped him. But you know, not only did they help him, when the men started running, because they got scared, the women kept coming with him. They were there. They saw when he saw the night, the sky turned black. They were there after the burial when he left the grave. The girls, the women, they never left. So you go around letting people think you number two, you need help. Hell, you the strongest thing going. You the toughest thing going. You're the only thing that God ever talked to when he needed to talk to the men. Read the Bible. I read the Bible and I say, poor Sarah. I would have told Abraham, get your ass up. It's time to go. What you waiting for? Damn it, I've had my bags packed. And everything in the water cooler is spoiling because of you. Come on now. We got to cross this. I mean, you know. Because y'all know how black women did it. I've been cooped up on this plantation, and they haven't done nothing different in 30 years. We're still eating the wrong beans. We get the worst meat, the dirtiest water, and we got to wash our own clothes and their clothes. So I don't know about you. Ain't no Greyhound on the way, but I got 2 legs. I'm in good condition. Let's run. And I'm going to do like Harriet Tubman did. When you hear the dogs barking, keep running. When you see the lights coming, keep running. Because if you don't keep running, you'll never know where freedom is. See, that's how we do it. If you only listen to the girls, you know the boys are coming. I'll give you one last story. Where's my sister? I'm coming. Oh, the screen going blank. I took 2 of y'all minutes. I owe you 4 cents. Rosa Parks just did this. And that's how she made history. Martin Luther King had to do this and do that and so much more. And that's why I'm here. Those 2 simple acts. A woman that a man who heard what she was willing to do. That's how we're here. So we all have value. We all have a place. We don't know if we're going to be the one that have to sit or the one that have to stand. But I tell you one thing, or the one, in my case, that will have to run soon. But we all have a purpose. And the sooner you know yours, the better off we're going to all be. But you all got a purpose, because look, you're here with me. Yes, ma'am. You got the last word before I sit myself down.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for my experience with you today. Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you.
I am curious about your opinion with the Supreme Court. Given that Clarence Thomas is not recusing himself, how do you see the future of our court when the democracy is not being demonstrated? In my opinion.
Oh, well, no. Your opinion is one that has alarmed me. Look, I know the White House. I know the Article 1 branch of the government very well. I'll be quick. The Article 1 branch is our legislative body. Article 2, executive powers, presidency. Article 3 is the courts. And the separation of powers are really written out in a lot of detail. To be a congressional staffer, I have to disclose so much information. I mean, it's like somebody give me a candy bar tonight, I have to disclose that. And don't, God forbid, if you give me some flowers or take me to a hotel room, game over, okay? We have strict disclosure requirements. And as an executive officer of the United States, I have strict disclosure requirements. I mean, and I face penalty. who want to go to jail because you forgot to tell them you were at the bar in the Netherlands? And it was in the red light district, so I'm like, well, you know what? You ain't gonna get me on that one. Yeah, I was there, because look, I'm from the French Quarter. I had to see if it was better. Okay, I was going there, I was doing research. The point I'm making is they have no standards, they have no ethics, they have no North Star, so they can do what the hell they please, and I understand how we wrote it in the Constitution, but I'm worried because you can buy anything in American politics today. I'm sad to tell you all that. I know I should explain what I'm saying, but you can buy anything in American politics today. Our politics is up for sale from the highest bidder for many Americans, many, and they come from all different stripes and colors. They will spend upwards of $100, maybe $1 billion. Plus, we got the foreign interference, and it's not just Russia, it's China, North Korea, Iran, and many other places. They're trying to hack our election systems. We got so much at play in this election. I can be here all night. I'm very passionate about all of this. You know why? Because a lot of it is out of my control. I can't change the laws overnight. I can't make the disclosure requirements any more transparent. And so I got to keep making these issues, along with, I want to get the ERA on the books in my life. I want to make sure that we can have, all women can have access to reproductive health care. I mean, that's bottom line. Climate is so important to me. I'm sure it is to you out in this beautiful, beautiful part of the world, beautiful part of the United States. And I am from another beautiful part. And we're in danger as well. And climate means a lot. We could do better. And I want to continue to work on that. So when it comes to justice and equality, and even what we see in the world today, I want to make this a better place. I want it left saying that, yeah, she drank her wine, she had her flowers, she grew her own vegetables, she cussed too much, she did a lot of things, but she still loved the Lord, and she was willing to work for justice, peace, and equality because she loved America. God bless you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, madam.
That was amazing.
Thank you, Boo. Thank you.
Oh, not on? There it is. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Donna, thank you so much. I share in your gratitude for being able to be part of this conversation tonight. Rams, how fortunate are we to be engaging in these really important, amazing conversations around democracy? And to be able to have such inspiring speakers as Donna Brazile. Donna, I'm personally inspired by your words tonight, especially the very challenging conversations I'm personally engaged in with our students right now on all sides of challenging issues. And as a mother of two young women who are about to vote in their first elections ever for president, we all hear you. So thank you so much. One more big round of applause for Donna Brazile, everybody.